Every day I see you is a fine
The
day.
NBA trade deadline is just passed. We're recording this, joined once again by Logan Friday afternoon. And let's get straight into it. There was a lot that's happened, but the big domino that did not fall, Giannis, is staying put in Milwaukee. It'll be an interesting storyline that happens this summer. So we don't have a Giannis trade to talk about, unfortunately. I thought we were going to, but we have a bunch. So let's get it
hmm
started off. Who do you have with the first trade?
The first trade we'll talk about is it was a surprise. It was the Harden and Darius Garland swap. This one was interesting because it was halftime of a Clipper or a Cav game, I believe, on national television. And the news kind of just broke in the middle of the game, which was kind of crazy. No one really saw it coming, for the most part, I guess. But the trade details, Cleveland acquires James Harden, and the Clippers get Darius Garland and Cleveland's 2026 second round pick. So that's for this year. My initial thoughts, I like it a lot for the Clippers. The Harden future was kind of in the air. Yes, the team was playing good recently, but they are still in the bottom end of the play-in. And I like that the front office was kind of just like, let's just kick the can of this season. Let's be done with it. Let's get a younger guard who has some star ability. Sure, Darius Garland's had a few, toe injuries that are kind of not alarming, but not awesome to have whenever you keep getting those lower leg foot injuries. But I like the idea of taking a star guard and getting a younger star guard instead, kind of reset in the future as we saw when when they also traded Zubac, which we'll get to later. But I like it for the Clippers. As for Cleveland, I'm not a big fan because they can't extend Harden because of cap rules. They're gonna have to try and re-sign him once his contract is up. And I don't know, like if you were gonna trade Garland, I don't think Harden would be the answer for who you'd want to get in return. So I'm not a big fan of it. I do respect the front office for making a move like this though, because they made other moves. We'll get to another trade that they made that I liked a lot for them. But this one, not as much. I think they should have gone for something else with Garland, but who knows what the market for Garland even was. I'm not really sure what to make of the Harden Mitchell pairing. It's going to take some time, but Harden's so good. What is he? A top 10 all time in points, three pointers, and assists. He should be able to, fit however it needs, but I'm a little I'm a little nervous for what this could look like in the playoffs. What do you think about it? Yeah, I'll give my trade grades, or do you want to talk and then we'll do grades?
Yeah, we could
Let's
do that.
have yeah, you talk and then we'll do grades.
I think the James Harden to Cleveland trade officially ends their window in title contention. I think it completely closes that door. I have never really been a fan of James Harden. I think Chris Paul being added to that Rockets team, we'll have to get to Chris Paul in a little because I think it's one of the worst retirement tours of all time. It's the opposite of his pal, how Kobe did it. I mean, Tim Duncan went out in a fashion of just this was my last season, which I really respect. But the only time I've really liked to watch a Harden team was with Chris Paul. I did like the Oklahoma City teams, but a team that Harden was the star player on. I think that it's just the ball hog nature is not really something that I've been a huge fan of. He does get the numbers and gets the assist, but it's just never been a brand of basketball that I liked. And I just hate the move for Cleveland. I think that Darius Garland's really going to thrive, I think, for LA. He's going to be maybe an 80% of what SGA could have been there in terms of a star guard, because I do think the Clippers, if they didn't stupidly put SGA in that trade for Paul George, he would be a stud right next to Kawhi. So Clippers, I think, are huge winners in this trade. It's not really close. Cleveland, yeah, you have a player that is a little, a little bit healthier than Garland and can lead the team and have that veteran presence, but Cleveland already struggled last year getting upset by the Pacers. You think James Harden's going to get you over the edge? And are can you even beat a Pistons team or a tough Knicks team that got Jose Alvarado, which I thought was a huge signing by them, and then Boston with JT coming back, I think relatively soon. I don't see Cleveland beating any of those teams. I can even see them losing to the Raptors or a feisty Sixers team. So I think for Cleveland, this was just a huge L. And for the grades, I might as well give mine. I think Clippers, I give this like an A minus, and I think for the Cavs, I give it like a D plus. I really don't like it at all for the Cavs.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I gave the Clippers an A and I gave the Cavs a C. Uh, we'll see. I I don't know, man. Moving on, we'll talk about the Anthony Davis to the Washington Wizards trade. So this whole trade, this was surprising. I don't really know how many people saw this one coming, but a lot of players moved in this deal too, as I'm pulling it up right now. Um, yeah, so Washington acquires Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum, while Dallas gets Chris Middleton, that's expiring money, Tyus Jones, who they've already moved on, AJ Johnson, who's a young, hyper athletic, promising guard. His talent is still a little raw, but he is super young, so there is a lot to work there. Probably a good mentorship opportunity there with Kyrie. And then Marvin Bagley, who, it's like his eighth year in the league, but he actually has been playing pretty well off the bench for Washington. But that's not really anything for the future of Dallas with Marvin Bagley there. And then they get two first round picks and three second round picks. So I, as far as Washington, it's kind of like, why not? They didn't really give up anything that I think could end up haunting them in the future, unless it's like an AJ Johnson becomes Shea kind of thing, which, what I mean, like with that Clippers trade. And the picks, like the picks, it's fine. Two picks for AD. I guess you have to appreciate it. They do get a lot of cap relief with getting off Middleton's money, with that being an expiring contract. I mean, uh, I don't know, man. For Dallas, it's just like whatever. Forget about the past. You gotta move into the future now. You flip the page completely. Who knows what strings were really pulled behind the scenes? I'm not a huge conspiracy guy, but I don't know. As for Washington, I like that he can mentor Sar because I am a big fan of Sar. So this is a win for Alex Sar. I think the Trae Young fit with all these guys could be pretty well. I don't really know, say they're all healthy next year, like AD and Trey and the rest of the young squad that the Wizards have. They're probably on the high end, a play-in team, maybe a six seed, but we'll have to see what the rest of the East turns out to be. And that's at the ceiling. That's if everything goes great. They might be a play-in team just with that star talent they have, and their young guys are pretty well. I do like this for the young guys. Just I think playing with good guys, good veterans can give you good habits and play the right way. So I like this a lot for all of the Wizards young core. And I don't really think the Wizards are like, let's give AD a huge extension either. So this is kind of like a really a no risk move for the Wizards, in my opinion. And then for the Mavs, it's kind of just like you had to trade him. It really sucks. Like the injuries that AD had when he got to Dallas. It's like, yeah, he's injury prone. This could happen, but he was playing good whenever he was out there. And then for him to get a hand injury that puts him out this long is so unlucky. That's really all the thoughts I have on it. It's kind of just a whatever trade for me, but it was super surprising.
Yeah, it was surprising. The thing that's not surprising is Nico Harrison continually just looks more and more stupid as the days go on. He literally didn't throw Luke on the market, trades him to Dallas. Oh, Anthony Davis, he can probably, him and maybe Kyrie, they can get something going. Both of those players we haven't seen in an extended period of time. And they literally got gifted Cooper Flag because they turned Luka Doncic into all these pieces, Middleton, AJ Johnson, Bagley, and a couple first. It's just so shocking to this day, and Nico Harrison continues to be a loser. I think for both teams, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. AD being a mentor to Alex Sarr, and I think it just is very fitting that he's in the number 23 because as we saw with MJ, Washington just it's where stars go kind of fade off into the distance, and I kind of have already really given up on AD ever since they won the title. It's just been kind of a steady decline. So, I mean, in terms of grades, I think Dallas. I mean, getting some first round picks out of AD, I guess that's kind of as good as you can do. So I'd probably have to give them like a C, C plus, and then for the Wizards, it's kind of like you said, really just no harm, no foul trade for them. So I'd probably give them like a B. I don't think it was a home run or a strikeout by either team.
Yeah, I'm close with you there. I gave Dallas a C plus, and I gave the Wizards a B minus. Next, we got a trade that was also a surprise. It was kind of rumored in the past that this team was interested in this player, and for it to happen this way and all these players involved was super fascinating to see. I am talking about the Jaren Jackson to Utah trade. I like this a lot for Utah. I think the fit of Laurie, Jaren Jackson, and Walker Kessler is fantastic because I think Laurie Markkinen is best playing at a three spot because he is quick. He can kind of hold up on defense at that position, and he's just one of the best offensive players, out there just with his height and his shooting ability, the way he comes off DHOs, double stagger screens. It's really one of a kind of what he can do. That's why another reason this is kind of irrelevant, but another reason why I loved Ace Bailey going to Utah is because he could learn the same stuff from Laurie. So I think Ace Bailey could be kind of the exact same player. Um, but so to get into all the trade details, Utah gets Jaren Jackson, John Conchar. They got Jock Landale, who they moved to Atlanta, and then Vincent Williams Jr., who I like a lot. I think he could be a good piece going forward for this Utah team. And then as for Memphis, they get Taylor Hendricks, George Niang, Walter Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, and three first round picks. The picks are pretty interesting. But as far as the young guys they get in return, Hendricks, I liked a lot coming out of the draft. He had a decent rookie season, and then last year he had just a freak injury that put him out for the whole year. It really sucked. And then this year he just hasn't really, shown too much. Like he's kind of been in and out of the rotation, not playing as much. The shooting hasn't been great yet. He hasn't had too much sample size to really get those shots up. I still believe in him defensively. I think he can be a versatile forward that can sometimes get out there and defend a guard if he's on a switch, and then he can be good in the paint. But we'll see about that. Walter Clayton Jr., I don't really know if I like this pickup for Memphis because they already have a lot of guards on that team. And I'm not the biggest fan of Walter Clayton. I do think he's good, but like he's also already, what is it, 24 or 25 years old. He's an older rookie, is what I'm saying. He's not 25. That's way too old. But anyway, I will say though, I saw him play a perfect game in San Antonio, the game I went to, Walter Clayton. He had like 18 points on 100% shooting. It was pretty great. But I don't really know what his future would look like in Memphis because they just have so many guards there already. But the picks are nice to get. As for Utah, I already talked about the fit. Yeah, I'll give it over to you now.
Utah's becoming quite like the Charlotte Hornets, and they're going to be a really fun team in the West, just based off of how many guys I like. I love watching Laurie, U of A alum. Loved watching him in college and throughout his career. I'm glad that he's finally able to find a home, it feels like, in Utah. And then, like you said, with Kessler and Jaren Jackson, Kessler can get the boards and play defense, and Jaren Jackson can fire up threes, which he's known to do. And the knock on him getting the rebounds. So if him not being the center, I think is huge. And then Keontae George has really just come into his own, I feel like, in Utah. And Sensabaugh has been playing really well this season in stretches. And Ace Bailey is one of the most electric players. And Isaiah Collier from
Collier.
USC, yeah, he went off a couple nights ago, and then Filipowski does his thing. I just like a lot of the guys, and I feel like yeah, those first round picks might come back to bite them eventually, but at the end of the day, they're getting a guy in Jaren Jackson Jr. that just brings veteran leadership and shooting, and he's a big man. So at the end of the day, I think I would give Utah a higher grade than Memphis. Utah, I'd give them honestly probably an A minus. I think Danny Ainge is really starting to grow something in Utah, and they're not gonna be in the basement of the West for long if this is the way that they continue to make moves and put the team together.
hmm Yeah, another thing for Utah, they already had so many first round picks anyway. It's like, how many more young guys are we going to bring in? Let's just go ahead and cash in a few of these picks because they still have some more picks too. And another thing I want to say, I like this kind of move. You can call it like a pre-agency, like free agency. Instead of signing the guy, let's just trade for this guy because Jaren Jackson signed an extension last summer, 4 years. So it's like it's pretty much like the Utah's just signing Jaren Jackson because now they have him for the next 4 years and they paid this price to get him. I love this kind of move
We
instead of
can
having to,
we can label it the Carmelo Anthony rule. Never
oh yeah.
trade for a player if you're gonna give up more than like half of the key players in your team because Carmelo could have waited until free agency and gone to the Knicks, but then they traded away Wilson Chandler, all these guys picks when you can just wait. So this is a good
hmm
move because they gave up. I mean, yeah, Kyle Anderson's a good player, but he's not like
He wasn't really
or haven't
playing.
given up like Coward or somebody
Yeah.
that they really need. So
My grade for it, I gave Utah an A and I gave Memphis a B. I do like the variety of moves that Memphis can do going forward. It gives them a lot of flexibility. Moving on, we're gonna go to a trade that I liked. It was a three-team deal, really more of a two-teamer. It's the Chicago, Cleveland, Sacramento deal where DeAndre Hunter goes to Sacramento. Cleveland gets Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis, and Emmanuel Miller, who is a two-way guy for the Chicago Bulls. And then Chicago got two second-round picks and Saric, who they already flipped. So this is really more between Cleveland and Sacramento that we'll be talking about here. I loved this deal for Cleveland. DeAndre Hunter wasn't really fitting anymore. He was coming off the bench. They're trying to get him going that way, but it just never really worked out. The fit last year when they traded for Hunter, it was like, oh, this could be great. He can be a forward. He can try and guard the Jays of Boston. But he kind of, like I said, he kind of fell out of rotation, fell out of fit. So for them to flip that into Keon Ellis and Schroeder, I've always been a Schroeder fan. He's an awesome backup point guard, a guy who can step up in some spots. And then Keon Ellis is another guy who can defend the guards and play up and defend bigger forwards, I mean, a little bit. So I really like what they did there. As for Sacramento, uh, I don't know, man. Like, it's less money in the future because I don't know, dude. The more I'm thinking about this now, for Sacramento, it's just like whatever. Like, yeah, they didn't have many forwards on their team that were really good. It was really Keegan Murray, and that's it. So getting another guy in there that can play that position is good, I guess, for roster balance. But I don't know, man. Sacramento's still so directionless that it's kind of just like whatever. But I love this return for Cleveland.
how many teams has Dennis Schroeder played for in his NBA career? If you had to guess.
Oh, it's like 11, isn't it? Yeah.
I think he'll be a better pickup for them in terms of the postseason than Harden. I think Schroeder, the way that he played for Germany in the Olympics, I can't get it out of my head. When it's international play, he just turns into an absolute demon. So if the Cavs need that extra push, he could win them a game or two in the playoffs. I can totally see it. And it might cancel out because I think Harden can definitely lose them a game or two, as we've seen him do multiple times in his career. I think the trade was solid. You kind of hit the nail on the head with everybody that you um, pointed out. Getting rid of players you don't need and adding players that could spice things up, I think is huge. So I kind of have both teams coming away. I feel like we're relatively happy.
Yeah, I gave the Cavs an A and I gave the Kings a B minus. Next we can talk about the Zubac Mathurin swap. So Indiana gets Ivica Zubac and Kobe Brown, and the Clippers get Benedict Mathurin, Isaiah Jackson, two first round picks, and a second. So I want to talk about these picks first because there's some interesting protections here. So it is the pick this year that the Clippers got from Indiana is protected 1 through 4 and then 10 through 30. So they only get the pick if it falls between 5 and 9. But if they don't get the pick, then it conveys to a 2031 unprotected first. So the Clippers either get a good shot at a lottery guy this year or they just have another unprotected pick down the line. And they get Matherin, who I do like. I don't I do understand. I do understand Indiana trading him because the fit was a little weird. He was a little ball stoppy as to what the Pacers want to do, just moving quick on offense. I still like him though. He's been having a good year, so I love this pickup for the Clippers. Only thing there is they're gonna have to pay him because Indiana never extended him, and this is his last year on his rookie deal. So he's going to be a restricted free agent this year. Restricted free agency is a nightmare for anyone who's in it, so we're going to see how that goes. But I love this return for the Clippers. I'm not as big as a fan of this price that Indiana paid. Zubac, he's good. He's a good rebounder. He can score well. He's not an elite rim protector. He doesn't space the floor. I don't know if this is like the move I would have done if I was Indiana. I do understand they needed to bring in a quality center. I just don't like this price that they paid. Um, what do you think on this?
I think getting rid of Matherin is really clearing out the way for when Darren Peterson is in a Pacers jersey next season. I think him with Halliburton and Zubac is a really, really fun combination potentially. And then if they don't get Peterson and they do get one of the bigs, Boozer, Koa Pete, Caleb Wilson at North Carolina, I think that Zubac could fit well next to any of them and kind of be that mentor. And he's that leading presence to where they can kind of develop because I think Boozer is definitely ready. All the rest, I think it'll take a little bit. Darren Peterson looks phenomenal, but I do think him and DeBanza can get a little ball stoppy and get a little ball hog going on in college. So we'll have to see. I am I'm happy for Matherin getting out of the Pacers where he was kind of a ball stopper, and I think he can, along with Kawhi Leonard, learn from him and then their guards. I think he can thrive in a coming off the bench kind of heat check player. But I do agree that the Pacers did give up a little too much. If I had to give it a grade, I'd probably give it C plus, B minus in between there, just because they were able to swap. I feel like a better player, Zubac, a little bit better than Matherin and Isaiah Jackson combined. So Clippers, two first round picks and Matherin, a young star who really hasn't had a chance to quite thrive in a different role. I'd give them probably a B plus in my opinion.
Yeah, I gave the Clippers an A and I gave the Pacers a C minus, which I guess feels a little harsh right now, but I'm gonna stick with it. I did these grades yesterday. Next we can talk about the Kuminga saga finally coming to an end. Atlanta acquires Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield in exchange for Kristaps Porzingis. So I was never a big fan of Kuminga as a player. I guess Steve Kerr agrees. Um, but getting Porzingis back, who could fit well hypothetically, he is an expiring contract, 30 million coming off the books, so that might be like the biggest thing that the Warriors are getting in this. And then I can see them signing Porzingis to a cheaper deal this offseason. As for Atlanta, Buddy, like, yeah, you get Buddy Hield because they just traded Kennard to the Lakers, so getting Buddy Hield kind of takes that back. But this Kuminga fit, I I don't like this at all for Atlanta. You already have some questionable shooters on the floor at once. You start Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, and a Kongwu. They all like they all shoot threes, but they're not stellar at it. And then you're adding Kuminga into this, who doesn't really shoot threes at all efficiently well at all. He's a downhill player. The paint's already going to be clogged with everything that they have. I don't get this at all. If you want to say that like they can have a pretty good defensive lineup out there, then yeah, I agree with that because that's always been the case with Atlanta. Um, but I don't know, man. I want to I like Atlanta as a lot. I like them as a team a lot, so I want to support them, but I don't know. I did not like this deal at all because they have a Kuminga has a team option for about 24 million next season. They're definitely picking it up. And I don't know, like they're gonna want to resign him for the future, and I hate that fit. I hate it. Um, as for the Warriors, I mean, it's just like you moved on from the saga. I don't really know what your Kuminga return was ever gonna be. I kind of liked the Kings offers like in the past where it was like Monk and others. And then there was like a Suns deal where it was going to be like Nick Richards and I think like Royce O'Neal. I would have rather taken those deals than this one if I was Golden State, but I don't know, man. I hate this fit for Atlanta.
I think their window for trading Kaminga was at its peak like 2.5, 3 years ago, coming off that 2022 title because he was kind of the young pup waiting for his chance to shine. And it never really is going to come because, in my opinion, I think he was in the 2021 draft. I was just not a big fan. I labeled him as a future bust. Maybe that was a little too harsh, depending on how you view it. He is a champion, but at the same time, I just don't think that the hype ever really was there for me. I never really saw it from him. Just the athleticism without the shooting isn't really a good combo. And as we'll get to next week, drafting for athleticism when there is a very clear history of bad shooting, as we will cover next week in our 2016 redraft. Josh Jackson was one of the pieces in the draft before that the Suns really just nailed in the coffin with Dragon Bender at number 4. I can't wait for that podcast next week. So, yeah, I mean, the Warriors, yeah, you got your hands clean of the Kaminga mess, but at the same time, I think both teams are losers in this deal.
Yeah, trade grades, I gave the Warriors a B minus and I gave the Hawks a C minus. Um, God, I might go D plus for the Hawks. I really hated this move for them. I don't get it. I hope I'm wrong because I like the Hawks, but we'll see. Um, Next, let's talk about your team. How about it? Boston Celtics acquire center Nikola Vucevic and a 2027 second round pick. Chicago gets Anthony Simons and a 2026 second round pick. So Boston saves money. They get a center, and albeit Vucevic is an expiring contract, and he is 35. So I would imagine you're re-signing him because I mean, what was the point of all this? I know the big point of trading Drew for Simons and then Simons for their Vucevic was getting off money, getting under the tax. So I get that part, but you're probably going to want to re-sign Vucevic, I imagine. Like I said, he is 35, so we'll see. I do think he could fit well just with, spacing the floor and being a pretty good offensive center. As for Chicago, I like that they got Simons. Chicago has so many guards now. But I do like the Simons fit. He is expiring money, so they're gonna have to re-sign him. But I'm just thinking about my boy Giddy. Giddy's got to kick out to someone, and Simons is a flamethrower from three. So I like that fit there. What do you think? You're the Celtics fan.
I'm really sad to see Simons go. I think him and Tatum and Brown would have been super fun to watch, but also I think Simons is going to thrive a bit better in Chicago. With Tatum coming back, he can replace those Simons minutes. Vucevic, I like him as a player. I think he's kind of been trapped in play-in purgatory in Chicago and hasn't really played a meaningful game in a while. And we'll have to see what happens. I think Brad Stevens is a wizard from almost going to have to pay $500 million in the apron, all that stuff, getting under that, and the ability for him to be kind of soulless and just trade players when they're beloved, getting rid of Horford, Porzingis, Marcus Smart, players that Isaiah Thomas. I mean, I know it was Danny Ainge, but he gets rid of players at the perfect time because, as we've seen with Drew, has kind of slowed down a little bit from his title run with the Celtics, and then Horford's getting older. Porzingis is dealing with an illness. His ability to get rid of players, Kemba Walker, and be able to maximize the talents of, I mean, Jordan Walsh, like some of his development, Shireman's development, Pritchard going from undrafted all the way to sixth man. His ability to just scout these players and make the right moves at the right time is something that is really should be talked about. Him and Sam Presti should be like neck and neck for best executives because the way they're able to get all these talent. I mean, look at Jared McCain. I think he's going to be a stud for the Thunder, and he's probably going to win them the playoff game. So I would give this for both teams. I think they both won in terms of in different ways. But Simons and the Bulls, I probably give that a B minus, B plus, or somewhere in between there, just because they do have a lot of guards now. And then the Celtics, I'd probably give it an A minus.
I gave both teams a B on it. Um, Moving on, we'll go to the one you just mentioned, the McCain to OKC. So OKC gets Jared McCain, and Philly gets Houston's first round pick this year that OKC owned from the Chris Paul deal, actually, and then three second round picks. So we got 9 minutes, so I'll be quick on this one. I like it for Philly. They're getting a lot of draft capital. Daryl Morey has a quote saying that he believes that they sold high on Jared McCain. Yeah, I'll believe it. As for the Thunder, I don't know, man. This one was a little shocking to me, and I'm not a huge Jared McCain guy. Like last year, he put up 15, 2 and 2 before he got hurt, and that was with no one really playing on the 76ers, so you could kind of make the case that it could have been empty stats there. He's still a good player, but like I don't really know. Is he gonna play that much on OKC? Because they have so many guards as it is. Like, yeah, OKC probably needed a little more ball handling at that guard position. But I don't know, like, is he gonna play more than Cason Wallace? No. Is he gonna play more than Dort? No. Is he gonna play more than Wiggins? I doubt it. AJ Mitchell? No way. I love AJ Mitchell. Isaiah Joe? Probably not, because Isaiah Joe is a knockdown three-point shooter. Um, Now it's not that bad because OKC had all of these draft picks that they needed to use for something. So I do like the idea of like, hey, instead of using this Houston pick this year, which would be in the late 20s, let's just go ahead and essentially draft Jared McCain into this system. So I do like it from that standpoint, but I don't really know if Jared McCain's really going to contribute much to this team, to be honest.
Yeah, they do have quite a bit of guard depth, as we've seen with, AJ Mitchell being stashed away and then has shown flashes. And with SGA being out, we're definitely going to see those glimpses of everybody. What are some other small deals? Io getting out of
Yeah, that was the
Chicago.
one. That was the one we're going to get to next. As for the grades on that one, I gave the 76ers a B plus and I gave the Thunder a B. So yeah, Io to Minnesota. I was a big fan of this one. So Minnesota acquires Io DeSumo and Julian Phillips, and then Chicago gets Rob Dillingham, Leonard Miller, and four second round picks. I like Chicago getting all those second round picks because you can do stuff with those sometimes. I I really think they could have gotten something else for Io. I don't like Rob Dillingham at all. I've been out on him since the draft process. I don't see how he fits at all, especially with Chicago having all these guards. Now I do understand they weren't going to get a huge return for Ayo Dosunmu because he is expiring, but Ayo Dosunmu is only getting paid 7 million. It's crazy. I love this pickup from Minnesota a lot. Like huge, huge, huge fan. Um, so for grades here, I gave Minnesota an A and I gave the Bulls a C because I don't like Rob Dillingham at all. And you pretty much traded Io for four second round picks, in my opinion, which is fine on paper actually. So it's not that bad. But getting Rob Dillingham, who makes money because he was a lottery pick, I don't know. No, I don't like that at all.
How excited are you for Colin Sexton on a scale of 1 to 10?
Uh, like like a four, because I think he's gonna play a lot. Because someone, I mean, they have all these guards, so like I don't know, man.
What about
I'm not
Usman
a fan.
Jang?
Well, he ended up getting rerouted to Milwaukee.
Okay.
I did tweet out, big fan of Usman Jang in Chicago, and now he's in Milwaukee, which I'm still a fan of. But why did Chicago not want to have Jang? Like, I think Usman Jang can be good.
I've
Um,
really liked him in
yeah,
the little spurts I've seen him play. I kind of liked his game and his arc.
yeah, like the problem is like they'd have to pay him going forward, but like, come on, like Jalen Smith isn't your center of the future, even though he's good. Zach Collins isn't your center of the future. Now they have Nick Richards, who that's not your center of the future. I don't get it. Why would they trade away Jang, who could be a center or a big four, like, yeah, they just drafted Essengay, who they're hoping can be kind of what Jang is. I don't know. I don't know, man. Uh, do you want to? We got 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes here. You just want to like just give like who won the deadline, who lost?
Big winner, Boston for sure. I think the Jazz. I really do like the Lonzo pickup. He's still going to the Jazz, right? He didn't get rerouted.
No, he got waived.
Oh, he got waived.
Lonzo's
Okay.
Lonzo's done. I'm sorry. He's been bad. He's been so bad this year.
I was seeing some guys that the Celtics could pick up with a buyout, and he was one of the names. But the one that made me really excited was Cam Thomas. I think Cam Thomas on the Celtics as a coming off the bench player. We've always needed that since Tatum and Brown were drafted. We've needed a decent sized guard to just come off the bench and go crazy because Pritchard is good. I mean, the way he gets in the paint at 6 foot's insane. So I definitely think the Celtics were winners. I think that the Jazz were winners. I think the Hornets were winners. Tyus Jones for cash. I think that's a huge pickup. He's a veteran point guard that I've really liked. Um, yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, losers. I think the Mavericks just a continuous loser for me. I also think the Cavaliers are losers as well, just based off the fact that I'm not a huge James Harden guy. What about you?
Clippers big winner for me. I love their returns that they got going forward into the future. Utah, big winner too. And I'll say Memphis is a winner as well because I think they have a lot of flexibility and options going forward. They have a lot of ways that they can go from here. Chicago, loser. We're gonna see what they do in the offseason with all this stuff that they have because there is a lot of expiring money there with the guards that they got. Um, Cleveland, mid, because I don't love trading away a young point guard for Harden, but I do really love the Ellis and Schroeder pickup that they got. I'll say one thing here. Detroit got Kevin Herter in a deal. They gave and another guard that Chicago got, Jaden Ivey, who I'm not a fan of. So this is just another guard that Chicago got that I don't like. But Detroit getting Kevin Herter, I'm a big fan of because he is $18 million expiring coming off the books. And now they have a second shooter out there with Duncan Robinson. So it's pretty much like last year they had Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway. And now this year they have Duncan Robinson and Kevin Herter. So I love the pickup for Detroit, getting another shooter in there.
I think it's definitely flipped on its head in terms of the Lakers getting Luke Kennard and trading him for trading away Gabe Vincent. I think Luke Kennard and Austin Reeves, let's run it. All white backcourt. We've seen the success that Duke had with Knipple and Flag. Shout out to Con Knipple. Cooper Flag's been on an absolute heater the last couple of games. There was a reporter that I want to give a shout out to for just the audacity that he had. He said that if Cooper Flag were to go into the 2026 draft, he would be drafted sixth. So, shout out to the audacity to just say that on national television because that's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Cooper Flag, he's the greatest teenager in the NBA of our generation. Shout out to Kobe and LeBron, but Cooper Flag's like that. And big shout out to the Duke guys just going off in the NBA still. So, thanks for joining, Logan. Any last second thoughts?
Yeah, shout out to the Blazers for picking up my guy Krejci. Treat him well.